In the quiet outskirts of a bustling city, under the shadow of concrete towers and neon lights, there once lived a boy whose world was carved by loss and solitude. His name was Min. With nothing but the clothes on his back and the ache of abandonment in his young heart, Min wandered the alleys and narrow streets, searching for something, someone, to hold on to. But in a world that moved too fast and cared too little, he was invisible, a whisper lost in the roar of city life. Min's story begins on a rain-soaked night, the kind where the city air smells of wet earth and sadness. He sat beneath the awning of a shuttered marketplace, knees hugged to his chest, watching strangers hurry home through the downpour. Each face was a flicker of hope, a potential savior, but no one looked his way. His mother had disappeared weeks before, leaving behind only a faded photograph and a promise she couldn't keep. His father was a memory, a gentle voice from a time when life was simpler, safer, a memory that grew fainter with each passing day. As the rain fell, Min listened to its rhythm, letting it drown out the hunger gnawing at his belly. He traced the cracks in the pavement with his eyes, imagining they could lead him somewhere better. But the world felt cold and indifferent. Yet, beneath that despair, something stubborn flickered inside him. A belief, however small, that life could be more than pain. The days that followed were a blur of survival. Min scavenged for scraps in the bins behind restaurants, dodged the suspicious glances of shopkeepers, and slept where he could. Beneath park benches, in abandoned doorways, along the banks of the river that cut through the city's heart. Each day tested his spirit, but each morning he rose, dusted himself off, and tried again. It was in these quiet, desperate moments that Min discovered the power of his own hands. One morning, as the first rays of sun slanted through the city's haze, he found himself in a derelict construction site. The skeleton of a building stood silent and unfinished, a forgotten dream. Min wandered among the piles of bricks and lengths of timber, his fingers tracing the rough edges. Something in the place called to him, a promise of shelter, a sliver of hope. With nothing left to lose, Min began to gather discarded materials, broken planks, bent nails, shards of glass. His hands, small, calloused, but determined, learned to shape, to mend, to create. He pieced together a makeshift shelter in the corner of the site, patching holes with cardboard, weaving a roof from plastic sheets. It was crude and fragile, but it was his. For the first time in weeks, he slept without fear of the rain. But Min's journey was not just about building walls. It was about rebuilding himself. The city was unforgiving, but it was also a place of small kindnesses. An old woman who sold fruit at the market noticed the boy with the dirt-smudged face and wary eyes. She offered him a bruised apple, her hands gentle, her smile warm. A street sweeper, gruff but observant, handed Min a half-eaten banh mi and a wordless nod of encouragement. These gestures, insignificant to most, were lifelines to a boy adrift. With each act of kindness, Min learned to trust again, if only a little. He watched how people moved, how they worked, how they cared for one another. He mimicked their gestures, taught himself to fix broken things, to bargain for scraps, to offer help in exchange for food or a kind word. His hands became his tools, his bridge to the world. As weeks turned into months, Min's shelter grew sturdier, more refined. He scavenged better materials, learning to use tools left behind by careless workers. He patched his clothes with thread from discarded spools, fashioned a mat from woven reeds he found by the river. The place transformed from a haphazard pile of junk into a home, a testament to resilience and hope. But survival was only the beginning. Min longed for more than just shelter and food. He wanted purpose, a reason to wake up each morning beyond the struggle to stay alive. One day, as he wandered the city's maze of alleys, he stumbled upon a small community center. Through its open doors, he heard laughter, children's voices, bright and unburdened. Drawn by curiosity and yearning, Min crept closer, watching as volunteers handed out meals, taught lessons, and played games with kids not so different from himself. Courage, he realized, was not just about enduring hardship, it was about reaching out. Summoning his nerve, Min stepped inside. The volunteers welcomed him, their eyes kind and free of judgment. They asked his name, offered him food, invited him to join their games. For the first time in a long while, Min felt seen. The center became a sanctuary, a place where his hands could learn new skills. He joined classes on carpentry, learning to shape wood with precision and care. He discovered art, painting scenes from his memories and dreams onto scraps of canvas. Each lesson was a stepping stone, each new skill a thread in the tapestry of his life. The more Min learned, the more he wanted to give back. He remembered the cold nights and empty stomachs, the loneliness that threatened to swallow him whole. He began to help others, patching up shelters for kids who wandered in from the streets, fixing broken chairs and tables, teaching younger children how to use their hands to build, to create, to heal. Word of Min's talent spread. The community center staff marveled at his determination, his quiet generosity. They helped him enroll in school, providing books and uniforms, believing in his potential even when he doubted himself. Each morning, Min walked to class with his head held high, his hands rough but steady, his heart mending with each day. School was a challenge. Min struggled with lessons at first, his mind more accustomed to survival than study. But he persevered, asking questions, staying late to catch up, never allowing his setbacks to define him. His teachers noticed his grit, his hunger to learn. They encouraged him, investing time and patience, nurturing the embers of hope within him. As Min grew, so did his dreams. He imagined a future where he could build not just for himself, but for others. He saw a city where no child would be left in the cold, where every hand would have the chance to create, to belong. He volunteered at the center, helping to design and construct safe spaces for those still lost in the shadows. He organized workshops, teaching skills to anyone willing to learn, passing on the lessons carved by his own hardship. Through it all, Min never forgot the nights beneath the rain, the sting of hunger, the ache of abandonment. These experiences became his compass, guiding him toward empathy and purpose. He learned that strength was not in the hardness of one's heart, but in its capacity to remain open, to give, to forgive, to hope. The city, once a backdrop of indifference, became a canvas for Min's vision. He worked alongside architects and builders, lending his hands and his story to projects that transformed abandoned lots into community gardens, derelict buildings into shelters, empty spaces into places of possibility. He spoke at gatherings, sharing his journey not as a plea for pity, but as a testament to what could be achieved with resilience, kindness, and the willingness to start over. Min's hands, once instruments of survival, became tools of creation and change. He built more than structures. He built connections, trust, and hope. His life was proof that even in the darkest corners, light could take root, that with bare hands and an unbreakable spirit, one could rebuild not just a life, but an entire community. Years later, as a young man, Min stood at the entrance of a new center, a place for abandoned children, where every wall bore the mark of his labor, every room echoed with laughter and learning. He watched as children played, their faces alight with possibility. He remembered the boy he once was, the one who slept beneath awnings and dreamed of something more. Min knew he could never erase the scars of his past, nor could he promise a world without pain. But he could offer what he had built, a place to belong, a chance to start again. The belief that no one is truly alone. His journey, hard and unyielding, had forged in him a quiet strength, the kind born not of privilege, but of perseverance. In every brick he laid, every hand he held, Min passed on the lesson that had saved him. When the world turns away, build your own shelter. When hope flickers, protect its flame. And when you find your own place in the sun, reach back and offer your hand to those still wandering in the dark. For the abandoned boy who rebuilt his life with bare hands, this was the greatest act of all. Not survival, but transformation. The proof that even from the rubble of despair, something beautiful can be made. And that the power to change the world begins, always, with the courage to mend what is broken, inside ourselves and in each other.